recording. Yeah, recording is in progress. What is a command that we use to read a particular file to our CSV file? It's read.csv, right? Yesterday we have seen that. And this is the file which I have. At the end of the session, I'm going to upload this file so that you might download that and practice. If I run this command is going to read I'm starting the recording. So this is a line which we use to read a particular file called whatever is the name of the file. You also need to provide this extension, whether it is .csv or .xls or whatever file format it is in. And I want the header information. So I say header is equal to true. If I run this command using Control N, this is going to read the file, load this particular file, which is called as social network, to R, and I'm assigning this file to this particular name, social network, to this variable. Here, you see that the data set is uploaded properly. If I click on that, you'll be able to see all the columns and all the rows. 202 observations. That means we have 202 rows and we have 5 variables. That means we have 5 columns here. Is there any other way to read the file rather than using this command? Oh yes, we have one. So let me delete this first and try to import a data set. This is how you import a data set using RStudio. This option is not available in R. So these are the bunch of advantages which you get if you use GUI based interface. From text file, I go to social network. I click on that. Look at this. This is extremely important. Heading, yes. If you select heading as no, you'll see V1, V2 until whatever number of columns you have. When I say heading is yes, you'll see that the first row would be considered as heading. And then I'm clicking on import. There you have the data. All right. This is the first command. Let me show you a few other commands. As you all know, we cannot create bar charts directly from the categorical variables. Now, how many of you all know the difference between categorical variable and continuous variable? Are you guys aware of the data types? All right. I'm assuming that you, okay, Aditya knows that. Who else knows about the data types? I'm anyways going to explain you all. No idea. All right. So let me quickly explain that. We have primarily 2 data types. One is called as continuous data. Another is called as attribute data. Once again, let me close everything. Okay, this anyways gone. All right. One is continuous data. Continuous data is also called as variable data. On the other side, we have something called as attribute data or discrete, count, category. You can think about these as different names provided to a particular data set. Now let's take an example of continuous data or variable data. Think about height of a person or weight of a person. If I say that I weigh 82 kgs, Is it making sense for y'all? Is it making sense for y'all? Yeah? All right. If I say I weigh 82.5 kgs, is that also making sense? Yes. If I say I weigh 82.57 kgs, is that making sense? Absolutely. I might use a digital weighing machine on which the accuracy can go to 10 number of decimals, right? Say 0.576. It is still making sense for me. If I say 82.57682, whatever be it, right? It still is going to make sense for me. That is called as continuous data. If I divide the data to whatever accuracy level I want to, it is still going to make sense. On the other side, let us look into attribute data. Can I say I have one laptop? It is going to make sense, right? Can I say I have two laptops? It's still making sense. However, can I make the statement that I have 1.5 laptops? Will that make sense? Absolutely no, right? So if you divide a particular data point further, and if it is not going to make sense, that is called as your discrete data or attribute data or categorical data. Are you getting me? You can probably say you have one girlfriend or two girlfriends. Can you say you have 1.5 girlfriends? You cannot, right? So that's the difference. Categorical and discrete. Sorry, continuous. Now let us proceed further. So you cannot plot bar plot, or you cannot plot the data using bar plot on categorical data. So what do I do in that case? So let us first look into this data set. How do you plot these using a bar plot? Can someone tell me or take a guess on how can I plot these categories? Facebook, none, and you might be having various other things, MySpace and all that. How do you plot that on bar plot using a bar plot? Absolutely, right? You take the counts of each of these. How do we do that? Let me show you. You can use something. Let me use frequency of your social media. I'm going to assign this a table. Now I'm creating a table. What is this table all about? Social network. Within that file, there is a column called site, S-I-T-E. I want to create a table. Let us run this command. Oh, what happened? Social network, $site. Sorry, I know what's going wrong here. Let me run this first command once. Because the second time when we have loaded the file, we have loaded it using from text file. So it wasn't assigned to any data set. That was a problem. Or I could have given social underscore network. It would have worked there. Anyways, let me run this command. It has created a table, right? Let us display that table to your console and see what happened. Look at that. It seems that within this column called site, Facebook is represented 93 times out of 202 observations. LinkedIn is appearing 3 times out of 202 times. My space is appearing 22 times out of 202 times, right? None, I mean, you see this none here, that is appearing 70 times out of 202 times. Other is appearing 11 times out of 202 times, and then Twitter is appearing only 3 times out of 202 observations. This is how we have created a table, and you can create a table using this command called table. Is this clear? So let me put comments here. Creates a table of a column or variable. Now I have a table. We can now plot a bar plot, or we can represent this table in graphical format. That would be easy for us. So let me use bar plot. I want to plot bar plot for this particular variable, frequency of social. So let me also write a comment against that. Creates a bar plot. Let me run this command. Here you go. Now we have the bar plots for the various social media websites, which is appearing in our dataset. However, I feel that this is not ordered in a particular format. Probably it makes sense if I arrange these in a descending order or ascending order, right? So let me try to plot this in descending order. For this, you have a command called bar plot. I want to draw a bar plot of frequency of social. Orders the data set, whatever data set you're using. So what is the data set that I'm using? I'm using this variable called frequency of social. Because I've assigned this variable, this table of social network, $site means I'm referring to this column in social network dataset, which is here. In what order do you want this dataset to appear? In decreasing order or increasing order? So if I use this command called decreasing is equal to true, it is going to show you histogram in the descending order. Let us run this command. There you go. Now we have this data set, right, in a descending order. What if I want to arrange this in ascending order? What should I do? Any guesses, friends? What do you think we have to do? Yes. So Sudipta, there is one small change here. If decreasing equal to true, rather than replacing this entire word from decreasing to increasing, I can probably change this to false, right? That is an easier way. So I change that to false and run that command. If you want to know more things about order, you can do a question mark and order. You'll get the help information here, which we can go through. Let me put a command here. Arranges the bars in a bar plot in ascending order. And since I have changed this from false to true, this is how it's appearing. What if I want these bars to appear in a horizontal format rather than a vertical format? There's a small change which we have to do here. The same command, I'm just copying this. What was that? Can we directly use what command? What do you mean by that, Aditya? I didn't get you. What call site?
Yeah, we created this frequency of social variable and assigned that with site, right? So instead of doing that, can we directly do the bar plot just using the social network dollar site and then decreasing it?
Oh yeah, yeah, you can do that. Yes.
You can do that? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that was my doubt. Yes.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now let me copy this and paste it here. All right. So if I want to arrange this in horizontal format, there is a command which says horizontal equal to true. Right. And I probably need not put these things there. Let me, yep, this is a command. So what am I doing here? I'm plotting a bar plot on this table, right? I've assigned this table to this variable. So I'm drawing a bar plot on that. While I do that bar plot, I'm ordering the bar plots or the bars in descending order. If I do not use anything, that means I'm using descending order. And horizontal is equal to true. So let me run this command. There you go. So if you want to arrange the bars in horizontal format, you can use that command which I've just shown, right? Let us now move on to colors. You can assign a lot of colors to the bar plot. Let me show you how you can do that. So we have this table. The reason why I'm calling this as a table is because I've created a table of this particular column and I've assigned it to this variable. Hence, I'm calling this variable as a column. So now I'm creating this bar plot. Once again, the same thing, I want to order this bar plot. When I just say order, it's going to order in descending order. Just remember that. However, I want it to be arranged in the horizontal format only, and I want to give a color. Here I can give a color of my choice, right? Whatever color you are interested in, probably you can give that. Say I want to give a color called blue or blue 9, whatever be it, right? I can simply run this command. Oh, let me put this in quotes. Here you go. All the bars are appearing in blue color. You can change to any color of your choice, whatever fits you. This is still not clear for me. I want to add some legend around this and try to make it visually more information, right? Now there is not a lot of information. I want x-axis, y-axis, and I want the main label for this. How do I do that? Once again, I need to use the same thing. Look at the amount of the number of variations that you have within this single command which says bar plot, right? So let me do that. Frequency of social. I want to order this. Frequency of social. This is just the syntax. Do not worry about this much. Horizontal is equal to true. I want to give a color as red. Now, let me put this. Border is equal to NA. Border is equal to NA. Let me run this command and tell you what happens there. This is going to limit the scale from 0 until 100. Here anyways, I have 0 until 80 or slightly more, but I'm going to limit it from 0 to 100, the scale here. That is what your X limit says. Limit my X-axis, X limit. If you had probably 300 or 400, which was going out of the screen, then you can probably limit that. You can use this command. Let me also give a main title to this, which says social network bar plot. I want to give a label to the x-axis which says these are the number of users, right? This count is the number of users. So let me put as count of people using social media. Let us run this command. What did I just do? I've added a main heading which says social network bar plot. I've added here a label x-axis. For the x-axis, the label says count of people using social media. And then I'm having this x-axis until 100. If there is more, I can limit that. If I change this to 60, I'll have only until 60 here. Is this clear until now? Or do you have any doubts? No. Can everyone confirm, please? Any doubts whatsoever, please ask me. I'm waiting for your confirmation, friends. Vijay, no doubt. Great. All right, Sudipta wants me to repeat the access part. Rest of you all, did you understand? Enoch, Monica, Sucharita, yeah? Great. So let me explain you the access part here. Earlier, access was showing only until 80, right? Here. It was only showing until 80. However, you have this bar, the topmost bar. Let me zoom it and explain, right? It's showing only until 80, so you can probably infer only until 80 here. For the rest of this bar, you do not have any x-axis appearing. So it's looking slightly weird. And we know for a fact that Facebook count here is until 93. So probably if I limit it till 100, my entire axis would appear, and let me erase this. And you'll be able to see the gradients until 100. So it's covered, entire thing is covered on your x-axis. That's the only thing. So if I change, say from 100 till 120, look at what happens to your graph. You see 0 until 120. Right? If I limit until 60, look at what happens to your graph. Sorry. Oh yeah. Look at that. It's looking so weird, right? Only until 60. However, we do not know until where these bars, two bars are expanding. Now by looking into this graph, I'm really not sure. I feel that Facebook and none appear equal number of times, which is wrong. Right? So I just change this. to probably 100, and then now it's going to make sense for me. Clear? Yeah, great. I mean, each bar in different color. Is that what you want to see, Vijay? Yeah, I'm going to show you now. So let us draw a histogram on the same social network data set. Let us draw a histogram. Command to draw histogram is HIST, and let us use this social network. And let us this time for a change use H command. And let me run this. This is a histogram. What is the use of histogram? Unable to hear me? Uh, so I've restarted the recording. This is a histogram. What does this histogram say, and why do I even need to use this? Right? So let me quickly take a different data set called MBA dataset and then explain you on what happens here. Where did my MBA file go? It's here. So I'm loading my MBA dataset using this option here, import dataset. I click on import. There you go. You have the MBA file. You have the serial number, work experience, and GMAT. If I just quickly scroll and show you all the 773 observations, no matter how many times I show you this, can you remember all the numbers? Or if I represent in a table format, will you be able to identify which person got the highest score? Or how many people have got 740 and above? How many people have got 660 as GMAT score? Can you make out that information if I show you table? I've shown you this table for so much time. Can someone quickly tell me in the view that I've shown you, how many people got 700 and above? Let's see who has elephant's memory here. Anyone? Four people is what Aditya sees. Let us check that. Five, all right. Let me go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. So human memory is limited in analyzing these things. What do we do then? How do I represent this? You need to represent this data in a graphical format. And I know for a fact that you know what is a bar plot. So let us first draw a bar plot of all the 773 observations. So I'm going to use this MBA dataset, dollar. I want to plot the GMAT score. If I run this command now, this is the bar plot. Is this bar plot making any sense to y'all? Is it any better than the table that I've shown you? Absolutely no, right? In the table, I've shown you 773 observations. And on this bar plot, I've plotted 773 observations. Meaningless. I cannot do or uh, I cannot draw any inferences from this. Hence, we use a different way of plotting, which is called as histogram. Let me now plot histogram on your GMAT score. Now it's making sense for me. What did I do here? I've logically grouped people who get a range of scores. For example, maybe this bar is from 700 until 720. Now I know what is the score of majority of my students by using this. I also know for a fact that there are very few people who get 650 and below as your GMAT score and get admitted to this B school. I also know for a fact that there are very few people who get 750 and above. Now it's making sense for me, right? This graphical representation has all the 773 observations, but we have done a logical grouping, or we have created the ranges, and these are called as bins. In histogram terminology, you call this as binning. Binning is nothing but grouping logical things together. Now, there are a lot of interesting things which are associated with this histogram. I think your work experience will make more sense, so let me open that. Let me draw a histogram on your work experience variable. It's very easy. I'm calling this work experience column, this column, from this file called MBA, and I'm drawing a histogram. So let me run this command. There you go. This kind of a representation is called as skewness. We'll get into skewness and kurtosis in detail at a later point of time, but just remember that this is called as skewness. This is skewed towards one side. All right, what if it's skewed towards one side? That means you have very less number of data points. Long tail concept. This is also called as long tail concept. How many of you all are aware of long tail concept? Long tail concept. How many of you all are aware of this concept? You're aware of that? Great. Let me explain this for everyone's benefit here. Say there is, or you want to venture into online movie rental business, just as an example. And you know for a fact that most people are going to watch those movies which are recent releases, that's the new movies, or the blockbuster movies, right? Most people will rent movies which are blockbusters or the latest releases. So you'll have majority of people playing in that space. Majority of your competitors operating in that space, renting out movies, and majority of their collection would be based on the blockbuster movies and the latest releases. However, if you are a new player who want to venture, probably you don't want to get into the same space where the other people are operating and start fighting along with them. The number of people remain the same. The chunk of profits or revenue that you can generate would be the same. Already there are well established players in that space. So why do you want to go to this space and start, fighting with other folks for the same pie? Instead, probably you can look into this long tail concept. Maybe these are the people here who are interested in mythological movies. Maybe they are interested in documentary kind of movies. Maybe they are interested in movies dated back to 1950s, 1960s, things like that. There would be very less players who would be renting out these kind of movies. Because you know for a fact that the competition or the number of people, customers are less. However, competition also would be equally less there. And even if you charge them a premium for these movies, your customers would be willing to pay you. There are two reasons why they'll be willing to pay you. One is they cannot get it, or those movies are probably not available with any of your big players. And the second thing is they also cannot get in any of your pirates, right? If you have internet access, you cannot just like that go and download that movie, because probably that movie is almost non-existent, right? So if you start renting out those kind of movies, you'll become profitable. You're venturing into a space, new business, right? You get an understanding of how that business operates, and slowly and steadily probably you want to enter into this space by learning what happens if you actually venture into that business. If you go big bang here, start playing with the big players, maybe it's gonna be difficult. However, this long tail concept saves a lot of effort for you. So Aditya has a statement here. Can we say we are normalizing skewed business? No, this is not normalizing, right? If you normalize, out of scope for people who do not know what is normalize, I'm going to explain later. If you normalize, Aditya, you will have to take probably log of a value or reciprocal of a value or something like that, and your graph will look like that. You're not normalizing. You're just playing in the space where no one else wants to play. Today, if you go and ask your engineering students on what do they want to learn, what technology do they want to learn to get a job, still people would say, I want to learn Java, I want to learn .NET, I want to be a web developer, right? There will be very few people who would say, hey, I want to be a data scientist. Now, these people, I mean, I'm giving an example of ExcelR solutions, right? If we also would have entered into this space, we would have been less profitable. We entered into a space where, there are not many players, niche technologies, niche courses, and that is where, you get a lot of exposure, learnings, and all that. All right. So is there another statement? If I increase the sales around these areas, which areas, Aditya? You can unmute yourself and just speak out.
The areas where the number of people are very less, like the
Huh.
tail part.
They
We are
will?
increasing the area, which
Mhm.
means the left tail thing will reduce, or is it
Uh-huh.
like we are just removing the skewness from left side to the right side kind of?
No, you're not doing anything of that sort, right? You're,
If we increase the
here is
scale,
where you have opportunity. And
yeah,
these people are not increasing. Sorry, these are not your competitors. The statement that you make is, say, you're making a statement that the number of these are not your number of competitors, the bars here. These are the number of customers.
yeah, if I increase this
Customers will
number of customers,
customers will remain the same. The only thing is you're
okay,
catering to these customers. If
okay,
these bars were your competitors, then you're saying that, hey, I'm operating in this space, so I'm adding to this bar. Another person comes, he's adding to that bar, right?
yes.
Yeah. So these are the customers basically. All right. So let us move on and discuss more things about histogram.